Yoko, it was a thrill for me to be asked to do this interview because it also gave me the opportunity to go back and listen to all your music afresh in the way you've resequenced it in the Ono box. It's really amazing to kind of re-experience your music again.
Oh, great. You mean you listen to them?
Oh, yes.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I was rocking out. It was really amazing to hear them all. But how did you approach resequencing? You merged several albums and left out certain things. How did you kind of figure that out?
I just played it by ear, you know, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I've always wanted to ask you is, does that come from? Is that a traditional Japanese?
You're good, Kate. Well, no, that's not traditional. And I think that, well, that one came to me only because when I got together with John, and the rock band was playing very loud, and I thought, oh, I have to go over that one, you know?
Yeah. It's amazing how that can sort of burst out of you when we started playing. And we had heard your music, and we weren't really that aware of kind of punk music. We were just at the very beginning, and we did all sorts of wild vocal sounds. Do you feel like that just came out of you, just especially having to sing over guitars?
Yes, and also I think the rock beat was really good for that, you know. Before that, because in the avant-garde, I was doing something that was more not right at the top, you know, like that, or right over the top, you know. It was like, well, I was screaming before. Yes, I was screaming before, but not that, you know, that one.
Yeah.
Started really because they pushed me, you know. They pushed me with the guitar.
Yeah. Well, it's such a signature vocal. It's so wonderful because that really, when you hear that, you know it's Yoko Ono. It's such a wonderful sound. That, you know, we started doing that, and Cindy sings that on Rock Lobster. I know, that would be great.
Yeah, right. John was always feeling that people didn't understand my work, etc. But he was really firmly standing behind me, and it was really great in that sense. And then in 1980, he went to Bermuda, and he just called me one day and said, listen to this, Yoko, and he couldn't believe that he listened to B-52 Rock Lobster. And he just thought that was great, you know. And he said, well, your time is coming, you know. Now you can do a thing or something like that.
When we read that, we all screamed. All of us just went, ah!
And you guys made John very happy. I mean, you know, and it was that last year for him, we didn't know that. But it was really great that he found out about you guys then, you know. I really appreciated that, you know. It just happened that way. It's just a beautiful, delightful thing for him.
What kind of music do you listen to now?
I occasionally listen to things because Sean puts it on. You know, Sean says, Mommy, listen to this. Yeah. And that was like John doing that too. John would listen to everything, and he would say, listen to this, you know. And it's very strange that Sean is doing that. But I mean, so I know that Nirvana is very good. You know, it's like contemporary things that Sean would say, now this new group is, you know, you might like this one. You know?
Does he listen to anything that just drives you crazy? Does he play something over and over that drives you nuts? You have to say, like, turn it off.
No, that's another thing that's very strange, because, you know, now his generation is getting into 60s music. Yeah. So he plays The Doors, he plays Jimi Hendrix, you know. So there's no sort of like music barrier. It's great that way, you know.
Did you experience any kind of censorship with any of your albums or any songs?
Yes, Open Your Box. That was a kind of, I like that because it's a kind of improvisation.
I love
and
it
worked out, you know. But that was censored. And also, sometime in New York City cover, I don't know if you remember it or not, but on the cover I put Nixon and Chairman Mao dancing together naked. Woo! And it was great. And I thought, oh, this is great. This is going to be, I mean, I don't know why, but I was so naive that each time I do something like that, I thought, oh, this is going to really go down great.
I think people would love that.
Well, maybe now. But this is in the 60s, or early 70s, which was full of sort of 60s spirit. So I don't know why they did this, but they put a stamp on it, like a sticker on the naked bodies.
It's scary when a lot of art institutions, you know, some art institutions that back down, as in the Mapplethorpe exhibition, you know, back down from showing things.
And also, if there's a censorship like that, then, instead of thinking, okay, well, the only way that we can show Mapplethorpe's photographs are by putting in a museum or putting in a gallery situation, think of another way of showing, maybe mail order or something, I don't know.
Yoko, what about the activism, the political activism that you and John did together, and activism in your music? Do you still believe that music can create change, and can it create world peace?
Well, didn't it? Well, I mean, it did create a lot of change in our awareness. Maybe there's always still war going around somewhere, etc. And it's hard to just create an ideal society right away. But I think that at least on an awareness level, we're all very aware now, don't you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think music and art has really radically changed people's consciousness. You did a lot of jams and improvisations. It's very common in jazz, I guess, but not in rock and roll. What did that kind of music do that more organized music can't do or doesn't do?
Well, something happens when you're jamming, and you can fly into an area that you never thought of. It's like you have a certain kind of design and planning in music, and you say, well, let's do it this way, But then the music flies to a totally different direction sometimes, you know? And you can really expand the horizon of what you're doing. And in that sense, it was very, very interesting. It's almost like the primal therapy thing, you know? And like the sort of the Japanese kind of vocal, or the operatic vocal, or the sort of moaning and groaning and screaming, all that kind of thing that that I experienced in my life, all came out, and that was very interesting. You start with, instead of me trying to say, okay, I'm going to plan and this is what I'm going to sing, It was like I'm letting my body do it. And so then it startles me too.
Well, it's much more emotional, and I guess you feed off the energy of each other when you're jamming, and you get this energy from the musicians. And your art is so positive, you just go right for the light. And yet, there's just, like in your voice in the jams, there's the emotions range, from anger to joy to just every kind of range of emotion is in your voice. Do you feel like, art's a good place to kind of get rid of that negativity, or kind of?
It's true. I think it's an acceptable form. Well, I can't call it exactly acceptable, could I? Because most people don't think it's acceptable.
I think it's cathartic for the audience as well. Well, for me, anyway.
Well, I felt that. I felt that I just wanted them to hear the real stuff. It's like the real grit of life or something. So I did that. Though in the avant-garde, it tends to be like there's no rhythm. Like boing, ah, boing. So I was thinking, it's interesting, but still, I feel like I was still having a monologue with a background of, background noise or something.
You don't get the emotional intensity of the music.
No, it doesn't have this kind of, dialogue that really makes you fly, So then I went and did the thing with Ornette Coleman. At that point, I felt like, it's getting more exciting, And then I met John, of course. And the rock rhythm is something that this was something great. I thought, oh, it's great. It's like the heartbeat, And John was doing this sort of like the Beatle music kind of thing. But when I started to scream, he thought, oh, I can do anything. And he started to play the guitar. And then I hear his guitar, and I think, wow, then I can answer that. And so there was an incredible, not just rapport, but a kind of discovery.
So did you have a very liberating effect on each other when you met and jammed together?
I think so. I think that it was very liberating, and it was not, rapport was not the right word. Initially, it was not a rapport. It's almost like a music fight, I'm saying something and he does it, like I'm going to show it to you, and I'm doing that too, And I think that maybe Cold Turkey, when he does that long sort of, he said, well, that was mine, okay? Like he was trying to show me that he can top me or something.
He can wail on.
Yeah.
I love his guitar playing on that. It's just amazing. But the interplay between your voice and the guitar, especially on Why and Why Not, it's just got this eerie magnificence to it. Just your voice is just, the interplay is just amazing.
Well, when I hear Why, I'm more interested in John's guitar in a way. Like sometimes you don't know whether it's my voice
together,
or his guitar, you know, and we love that, you know.
Yeah. That's like a really high moment, I think, when instruments like that merge or two voices merge and you don't really know. You can't even define the boundaries anymore. We write by jamming. And
great.
So we just started out by everyone would kind of jam together, and Cindy and Fred and I would just scream and vocalize and make sounds and noises and harmonies and melodies, and we'd just go off. But we'd kind of let it all hang out, and then we'd have miles of tapes and then edit things down and try to find, you know, the sort of chorus. Or, I mean, we worked with a more structured song form, but we did a lot of times if things were irregular, if the chorus was irregular or the verse was 2 measures longer, you know, we'd keep it exactly like it was in the jam. So we try to recreate the feeling of the jam, you know, try to really kind of get that kind of emotional intensity that was there in the jam. But when the first time I ever heard your records, I rushed out to the record store and I found some in a used record store for $1 each. I found Feeling the Space and Fly, and I just went home and played them nonstop for a week.
Oh,
it was
really?
just amazing.
So you see, John and I, when we did the Yoko Ono Plastic Ono Band, you know, we felt like we created a new art form.
Yeah.
And you know, and we were saying, this is great, and this is going to really, I mean, show them whatever. And of course, they just put it in the trash can. You know, like, oh, you know. So, and in fact, this was funny because I got a photo. A fan sent me a photo from Japan that all these fans are standing with a big trash can saying Yoko Ono's records.
Oh no.
Like this, you know, like with an arrow, you know, showing, you know. And I was thinking, oh, that's how they feel about it, you know. And it was very interesting because at the time we felt that the whole world is going to know that a new art form was born, you know. That's how we felt about it. And then, of course, they ignored it in a way. So then we thought, okay, well, that's that, you know. And a lot of things that we could have done, we didn't do, of course.
I know.
You know how artists get discouraged. You know?
It's easy to get. I mean, if people aren't behind you, and I know friends that are that I was talking to this week that are absolute Yoko Ono freaks, and you know, a lot of them said, "Oh well, I was very disappointed when Yoko met John because this sort of ruined her career and her, you know." And other people said,
each other.
But it's so funny how people resisted that, you know, they don't want anyone to change in a way, like you resist that kind of union. And then when people are together for a long time, people don't want to see them break up either. How did you kind of overcome that resistance to your work, and how did you deal with, do you feel bitter, or how did you deal with all that negative criticism that not only got from your music, but you personally got a lot of criticism? How did you deal with that?
Well, I think that do my work, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm a workaholic in a way, and so that helped.
Well, nowadays, it seems as if you go too far out, you're never going to get recorded unless you put out your own record.
Well, I mean, that's always, isn't it?
So there's that practical side of it, too. Did that kind of aspect of it, or the fact that people reacted negatively, make you and John kind of go into more traditional song forms?
No, it's just the mood of at the time.
Yeah.
For instance, in Approximately Infinite Universe, all those songs just came to me, so I thought I might as well do it, you know. So that's how it happened.
So many of your pieces and songs sound so contemporary now, and a lot of them sound, you know, were such a forerunner to punk and sound really contemporary, and some things sound great in the dance floor.
Thank you.
So do you think that, in general, there's going to be more of an acceptance and understanding of your music?
Well, I hope so.
I hope it should be.
But I would not know, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see about that.